Good afternoon and welcome to your weekly current affairs program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. Every week we look at very, very crucial national issues. And my guests have always dissected such national issues. And today's edition will not be different. We're looking at something that has to do with the people, the citizens, the residents, those who reside in Nigeria. A lot of reactions to the economic policies of the present government, and we understand that there are pockets of protests, and some of the protests goes with the slogan, "Let us breathe." You know, so that's very touching, and we're looking at that on today's program of 60 Minutes Nigeria. So it's a delight to have you with me on the program. My name is Erosa Agbonlaho. I have with me very distinguished personalities. I have with me a professor of law, a legal practitioner, a legal luminary, Professor Job Odion. It's always a delight to have you on the program.
Good afternoon, Erosa. Good to be here once more. Good afternoon, our audience at home.
Okay, we also have with us a very, very highly respected, revered clergyman. And he's a man, a leader of congregations, a man that understands the grassroots, understands the people, Reverend Benson Ogirake. Nice to have you with us today.
Good afternoon, my beloved.
Okay.
Good afternoon to every one of you.
Now, today's topic is very crucial, and that's the reason we have our third guest with us. Because we are looking at the economic woes and its attendant impact on residents. And so I have with us today the chairman at Tinogbe Multipurpose Cooperative Society, a financial influencer, and of course the political analyst, Mr. Omorogbe Ayonwafo. Nice to have you with us today.
Thank you, Erosa.
You are dealing with the people in terms of influence. You are a financial influencer. And so you'll be talking about what is really happening in terms of our economy today. So it's a delight to have you with us. And we are going to start with Mr. Omorogbe Ayonwafo because he's the chairman of Tinogbe Multipurpose Cooperative Society. He's also a financial influencer. So he knows the nitty-gritty of what is happening. Now, like I said, in Rivers State, in some other parts of the country, there were protests. Some persons took to the streets calling on President Tinubu, allow us to breathe. Now, don't forget that even the World Bank, the economic financial giants around the world, Madam Ngozi was also here. And great people seem to commend the reforms, the economic reforms, the policies of this present government. But because of the attendant effect, Nigerians on the roads now, you have fewer cars. So many Nigerians have parked their vehicles, they're unable to buy PMS, petrol. In the market, some Nigerians are finding it difficult to purchase rice, purchase food items, a lot of problems. And this is affecting the welfare of citizens. Mr. Omorogbe Ayonwafo, now, looking at what is happening, are you comfortable or you think the government is on the right path? Maybe at the end of the tunnel, surely we'll see the light.
Thank you very much. And first and foremost, I will let our viewers know what actually is the meaning of the word crisis. Okay. When you say we have crisis. Crisis involves when we normally say there is wahala, when there is a problem.
In local parlance.
In local dialect. Wahala. There is problem in the land. And when it comes to the issue of relating it to our economy, we know that economy involves the management of the available resources of a particular country or state, as the case may be. But I want to actually say that this issue of financial crisis or the impact of what some of the policies the government has taken is having on the citizen are not new. I grew up meeting my parents talking about hardship, talking about problems, crises, things are expensive. I grew up even when I was in primary school in the late 70s. My parents would always come home complaining. But the truth of the matter is that it has taken a different tone now. This one is terrible. The one we are having now is really, really terrible. I am from a financial, I have a financial small background, and we try to give small incentives to market women. We have found out that it is really, really tough for the downtrodden now. It's difficult for them to survive. Can you imagine, even a man of myself and my wife, we now use one car. From the house, we use one car. I will drop her off at work, drop the children, go to work, and come back. And mind you, I live very close to where I work. I work in Nitel. My wife works in Unibe. My kids are in the school around the Bowo area. I spend 5,000 naira for fuel every day. Wow. Times 20 days in a month. That's big money. So it is really, really biting now. It is difficult. And only God knows where we are heading to. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for your opening remarks. 5,000 a day, that is not easy because we know that the minimum wage is 30,000 in some states, and in Edo State, the minimum wage is 40,000. And now the economic downturn is changing the lifestyle of Nigerians. If you have more than one car, you are now forced to use one so you can economize petrol, you know. Well, we have a man that is very close to the people, a leader of congregations. I hope the offerings are still coming in. He's a man of God. Yeah, and he's with the people. Well, what's your opening remarks? That's on the lighter note, Reverend Benson.
Yes. To be honest with you, well, you know, apart from being close to the people,
yes,
but at the same time, you know that as spiritual men,
yes,
we walk through the side of faith.
Okay.
More than the side of the looking at it from
the physical,
natural,
yes,
the physical aspect of it.
Okay.
And that has also made us to actually see the situation, though is really hard on the people.
Yeah.
But we also have the faith that at least that God is still on his throne, that he can never forget his people, not just Christians alone, but at the same time, everybody, because we are offspring of him. So he created us. He knows that things, a time like this will come. So the same God who allowed rain to fall for everybody to enjoy, to allow the sun to shine for everyone, the same God also have a way of sustaining us. But before then, I want to quickly say this,
okay,
of a truth. The economic situation of this country, I rejoiced just now with him, and I was happy. When our chairman was saying something, he was saying that as he was growing up, he met his parents complaining. I went to ask him that if they were complaining at that time, can you compare it to this time? But I was grateful to God that he also said, but not to this extent. So that actually shows that a lot of things are really going bad. But at the same time, there is hope. The reason I said there is hope, whenever there is any challenge, including in the Bible, there was a time in the Bible when there was famine, to the extent that people have to now discuss with others and agree that they can kill another person's child, cook it, and eat. It was to that extent. But thank God Nigeria will not get to that extent. So there have been famine in the land, both within now and before now, but there is always a solution. So I prefer, though I know that we still have some time, but I want to say this, that the entire country, especially our leaders, should not focus on the challenges, but rather to focus on the solution. That is why, as far as this situation is concerned, it's not to just be looking at one particular political party to say, because I'm APC, then let me just focus to be able to use my people or to use position to favor anybody. This is not that time at all. So what we should do now is to make sure that we come to the table, let's discuss, then any other person or every other person that we know that these people can actually contribute to the progress and to the solution of the challenge that we're passing through now, even if they are in other parties. So we need to draw them. This is not the time to be selective. This is not the time to feel that, oh, let me honor my people. Let my people know that at least they brought me here. No. Because once you take any public office or position, you should be able to know you are not there for a particular set of people. You are there for the entire country. So what I want to say now is that let us focus on the solution instead of the problem.
Thank you very much, Reverend Best, but I will not allow you just live like that.
Okay, sir.
Without commenting on this, because you just led me to another aspect. Now, just yesterday, the portfolios of ministers were announced.
Yes.
And the former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, a PDP chieftain, was appointed and is now minister of the FCT. So, are you saying that what Tinubu has done is the right? He must take from other political parties.
Okay.
That's what you're saying.
If I want to respond to that, sir.
Yes.
Knowing that many of us know some secrets that happens during the election. You know that he worked for the president.
But it belongs to another party. For what you are saying, I should collect from other parties.
When I'm saying collect from other parties or take from other parties, it's not the person that behind is in another party, but actually that is the body is in another party, but his spirit is in another party. I'm not looking at that. No.
It's not a hybrid.
No.
Okay.
So I'm looking at the people that
neutral.
That are neutral. They are not that are competent. That are there for the people, not people that are there for what they want to gain.
Thank you very much. You have cleared up the air. Yes. Okay. Professor Joe Odion. Yes. Looking at what is happening, what's your take?
Yes, thank you. The earlier discussants, they've really, encapsulated the entire issue. They've discussed far and wide. Yes. And so I just want to maybe weigh in on one or two key areas. Starting from what the first speaker discussed and mentioned, that we've had a crisis before now, economic crisis before now, and he referenced the time frame. But I just want to recall that growing up, at least at my own end, I recall we grew up to meet austerity measures during the Shagari regime. The austerity measures was the precursor to the 83 coup led by our immediate past President Muhammadu Buhari. Sometime when I was already in university, we talked about the SAP, the Structural Adjustment Program by then the Babangida, and of course it was so bad that as students then, we recall that students, we all had to move into the streets, protesting what became the anti-SAP riots. That was so monumental that schools were closed for about 5 or 6 months then. I was then in Denben, Sueboma as a law student. Now we've had so many other crises, and now it has reached its, what we call this climax or the apogee with the last 3 months of this present regime. I've had to intervene privately with my colleagues, friends, and even politicians who are my friends in other parties, especially the ruling party. I've asked them, I've told them that the level we are going now, if things don't simmer down, if things don't improve in the next, let's say 3 months from now, because that will be 6 months into this present administration, it means that Nigerians will have been made to go through what looks like hell for more than 8 years. Because we all know what transpired in the 8 years of the last dispensation, and how Nigerians were waiting patiently and hoping for a new lease of life, a breath of fresh air. And so economic policies that will further worsen Nigerian poverty state, the rate of unemployment, will also cascade into issues of insecurity and crisis, political and civil crisis, dissent by the citizenry. We talk about strikes threatened by NLC, protests. The country may become ungovernable if in the next 3 months some drastic steps are not taken to either reverse or review some of these economic policies that are put in place. The issue of the subsidy, for example, now going to specifics, that have been so many stories, so many issues, so many arguments here and there. But you see, the issue of subsidy and all the argument is all about policies that are tinted towards a capitalist, structure of government or a run economy. I've always believed that developing countries, as it is, including Nigeria, are not ripe for any pure capitalist policies that are usually prescribed by the IMF and the World Bank and all that. Subsidies must always be there at some point in time. The fact that it was mismanaged, the only argument people have canvassed against subsidies is because some persons were benefiting from it, albeit illegally. People were doctoring documents, vouchers, NNPC vouchers, people were importing less and claiming more, or the imports were being taken to other neighboring countries. That does not mean that we should be denied subsidy, at least some level of partial subsidy. If it's not 100%, it should be in gradients, 50%, 25%, but not total removal. You don't chop off the head because you have issues with your ear or your nose. Don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. That is what they've done in Nigeria. Because you people, the elite that were involved with this subsidy for the past 30 years, that have mismanaged it for your own benefit, people were eating from it. You deny the ordinary masses the benefit of the subsidy, which is actually important for a premium product. Like I always canvass in other fora, that PMS, kerosene, even diesel, if you may add, are actually necessities in a country that is developing. And you want to industrialize, you want your factories to work, you want your artisans, the small and micro, medium enterprise to work. They need this for in a country where energy is a challenge. So you cannot say that you will not subsidize energy, including electricity. You cannot say that you will not subsidize housing or transport. Where is that done? We are developing. We have not reached that stage yet. And we have the resources. So who has been arrested for subsidy fraud? Nobody. Who has been prosecuted? Nobody. And then because of that, you just wake up one morning and say you are removing subsidy. You want the free market to determine. Free market in whose favor? In a country where we know that there is no perfect market. In a country where we know there are a lot of saboteurs who can manipulate the market. And you wake up one morning and say you want to lead to demand and supply. You want to invite people to come and invest. Because of that, we should be. So you transfer the burden to me. I should not be buying fuel at 700 or 1,000. Who does that? And if you look at the ripple effects in other sectors. Price of foodstuff has increased. Price of transport has increased. House rents will be reviewed by landlords. Just name it. Then you come to the naira, the dollar aspect again. You also sit down again in line with the same international IMF and all those what I call some crazy extreme ideas. You see, you want to float the naira. How? Country does not produce. What is the strength of the naira you want to float? So you have experts who just think theoretically. They are not pragmatic. I'm not an economist, but at least the little we know about economic law tells me that you cannot be floating your naira when you don't have a strong economic base. You are not a producing country. You don't export. Because floating means you are leaving to the demand, the market forces. That is why the naira is going to 1,005 or 1,002. And you see countries like McLaren and Beecham, GSP, that are leaving the country and all that. So these are horrible, with all due respect, horrible economic policies that have to be reviewed.
Thank you very much, Prof. Very expository. Well, we'll go back to Mr. Omorogbe Anwanfo because he's in the financial sector. Now, I must commend Reverend Benson, what he said just now, that we should focus on the solution. Now, you just told us in your opening remarks that you have more than one car, but you are forced to use one now for the entire family. I think that's a solution. It's a pragmatic approach to solving this problem. So, now, if you are to advise government, we already know the challenges are there. Let's focus on the solution. How do we come out of this problem?
I will start by letting our viewers know that as we speak, inflation is at 24%.
Okay.
And if we want to cast our mind back to the last dispensation, last government, that government was actually using 96% of their revenue in servicing debts. So if you look at both indices, you discover that the issue of what do we do or what should they do cannot be automatic, cannot be that easy as we just look at it, because the decay has been over time. And the issue of Prof mentioned something just now, that in the next 3 months, if an urgent situation is not, the present situation is not addressed positively, it might result to other catastrophic situation. But however, I will still say that 3 months is still very, very short, because it's one thing to have policies. It's another thing to implement it. Implementation of policies are not just a kind of like a family decision, kind of where you just wake up one day and say, my wife, go and buy a bag of rice and buy chicken and all that. It's not like that in governance, because you still have some kind of drag here, drag there, and we all know that, like he has said, we have a lot of saboteurs in all sphere of all departments. So the thing is that I think we should stay as quickly as we can, or to try and tolerate them a little bit. And
tolerate who now?
I mean the present dispensation, the present government, because they just started.
So Nigerians should tolerate,
bear with them, and let us just see, because they said even if you are going to promise 2 months or 3 months or 1 year for us to see again, a year is just like 2 hours. In no time you get there. So I think presently they just nominated or they just appointed their ministers, and let's see what happens. And on the other side, the presidential election tribunal is still hasn't given their verdict. So I think there's still more to wait for, a little bit. But on the other hand, you have said you chip in the issue of my using one car and all that. There's nothing you have to advise Nigerians for that. It's a reality.
Okay.
You either adjust or you don't live at all. This is not an issue of having to come and advise this particular person on, oh, do this, don't do that. I visited somebody recently. It was on a Saturday at 11 a.m. The children were still sleeping. I said, madam, why are the children not up? In my house, 9, 10, they are up on Saturdays. He said, no, she leaves them to sleep till 1 o'clock so that breakfast can.
They will skip breakfast.
So that by 1, 2, she gives maybe bread and mayonnaise, and in the evening she prepares something for them. So it is not something we have to say, or we have to tell Mr. A or Mr. Agbonlao to say, you have to leave this or that. The reality is on. We are all in trouble. It is not easy at all. I went out to buy cement last Saturday. I bought for 4,000 naira. What I was doing, I bought 30 bags. It was not enough. I went back 2 hours time. Cement 5,001. On Monday,
2 hours.
Yes, on Monday I bought for 5,003. So who will tell me not to increase my rent next year? So it's really a sad situation. Yeah. A bag of rice now sells for, the local rice sells for close to 50,000 naira. You look at a situation whereby this, even civil servants, they used to contribute 5,000 monthly. My wife used to do it monthly. So at the end of the year, they bring home a bag of rice, tin tomatoes, groundnut oil, and all the rest. My wife told me last night that she's not even sure of getting a bag of rice this December, because from the way things are going now, there's no way a bag of rice won't hit 70,000 naira in December. So it's really a situation of concern. It's a situation of great concern.
Okay. Okay. Before we take a brief break, I will just allow Reverend Benson to also comment on solution, because you actually brought the issue of solution up in this discussion, and I seem to see that as what should be the focus of Nigerians and those in government. We should be looking at solutions now. Now, my guests have said, Omorogbe has said, no quick fix. It will take some time. Nigerians need to allow the present government time. Now, which solution do you think Nigerians need to readjust their lifestyle now? So, what solutions will you prefer?
Okay, sir. Please permit me to say this.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at it from two aspects.
Yeah.
From the spiritual aspect and from the physical aspect.
Okay.
The reason I said I'm looking at it from there, though I'm a pastor.
Yes.
But by the grace of God, I have worked in secular.
Okay.
Before God asked me to go into a full-time ministry.
Okay.
And I look at it that from both ends.
Yeah.
So there are solutions.
Okay.
For instance, I want to let everybody know I'm not really focusing on religion here.
Yes, I want you to. You know, we're in the physical realm.
Yes,
I want you to talk more the physical realm. Okay, thank
you. The reason that I'm saying so is that whether you are a Christian or not, but I want you to have this mindset that as far as this situation is concerned, that you as an individual will be able to come out of it. The reason is this: when you focus on the challenge, or when you are hearing news about what is going on now, the price of things is going on, sometimes some people can develop hypertension.
You are correct.
Yes. So the first thing is that everybody should shift their eyes off it. Let me just quickly analyze it.
Go ahead, please.
Look at this. In the fiscal realm, you use money to transact business. But in the spiritual realm, you use faith to transact, to draw from God what you want. Because when you find out that you are having the mindset, I'm using the mindset because that I'm talking to the general people.
Exactly.
That you can come out of it. So you find out that no matter the challenge, it can never weigh you down. And as long as you are not weighed down, you find out that you have the strength to be able to carry on. That whether things are tough or not, but the strength to face it head on is there. So you discover that as you go, definitely you will overcome. That is one. Then the second thing is that what my brother was saying just now, there is need for somebody to try to cut down on every expenses.
Okay, cut down.
Yes.
I'm going to come back to you, Reverend Benson, because the people want to hear how to cut down.
Yes.
But we'll just take a brief break now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always a delight to have you back. I'm happy that you're spending your 60 minutes with me on the program, 60 Minutes Nigeria, a current affairs program, where we dissect national issues that affect the people. And for those of you just joining us, we are looking at the economic crisis in Nigeria and the impact on the welfare of citizens. If you are observant, you will just recall that years back, Nigerians used to talk about a word in the local palace. It's called Legedis-Benz. Legedis-Benz. Not Mercedes-Benz, but Legedis-Benz. Now, in local palace, it means those who cannot afford a car or a Mercedes-Benz, when they trek to wherever they are going to, they are using their Legedis-Benz. And it's also good for their health. Now, nobody needs to be told to use Legedis-Benz now. People are just using their Legedis-Benz. I hope you understand. Reverend Benson will tell us more because I was talking about how to cut on excesses before the break. Yes, Reverend.
Thank you, sir. So before now, I did a program in our church.
Okay.
I tried to involve some of the branches of our church.
Okay.
By the grace of God, I'm the senior pastor.
Okay.
So I was trying to let them know the reality on ground. Then I taught them what a liability is and what asset is. Because most of the time, people tend to focus on liability instead of assets. For instance, for you to buy a car to be used as a private car, you should know it's a liability. That is not an asset. Though it is necessary that you may have it. I did an analysis, an analysis of one of our member who work with Uniben. The salary is about 150,000. Where he's coming from to go to come to Uniben, he spends nothing less than 10 liters. That 10 liters,
that's about 610. As at this morning, some filling stations sold for 610 per liter.
Yes, but let's just peg it on 6,000 for instance. So if he's paying 6,000 naira every day for 5 days, that's already 30,000. So in a month,
about 120.
That would be 120. So he himself should know that his take home pay, Joe is now 30,000 because he has already spent 120,000 to get 150. But the government have to take their tax. The other expenses you have to make.
He has not eaten.
No, he has not eaten. He has not eaten. Feeding is not there. Health is not there.
He should be fasting every time.
You understand? Yeah. Because he's supposed to also at least take lunch when he's in the office. So you just find out that he's going to work. It's just like working without pay.
Yes. Let me quickly trip this.
Yes.
For those of you who are economists, you understand that what the pastor has just said now is what we call the disposable income. So it's disposable income is what you have just mentioned. So after the removal of that transport fees.
So you now find out that I have to let them know that for now he doesn't have business of driving his private car. He should be able to tell himself, because it's not to help the government by keeping the car at home. It's to help himself. Because as far as government is concerned, nobody is interested whether you survive or not. What they'll be looking at is whether you are in the office. So I have to let them know. For now, drop your car. Then be humble enough to tell yourself, what do I need to spend if I enter a transport? So, when we calculated the transportation, so we discovered that at least it was reduced to about 30,000 in a month.
Oh, if that man uses public transport.
If he uses public transport. So his expenses on transportation to work and back it was reduced to 30,000.
That's fantastic.
So I let them know. Then for others who maybe that is married with 2 children, and you are living in a 3-bedroom flat that is not your own as a tenant, what are you doing there? You should be able to tell yourself that at this time you have to make sure you relocate. Look for a place that
please go on, Pastor. The word relocate actually
so I told our members, I said, because you have to relocate, make sure that you look for an apartment that at least you will not spend up to what you are spending now.
Pastor, you need to make our people understand.
Yes.
When you say relocate for 3-bedroom, you are saying that you relocate to
self-contained.
When I say relocate, is it self-contained or
that relocate is from 2 aspects.
Okay.
When I say 2 aspects, is for instance like Sapler Route.
Yes.
You know, the rentage there is very high. But coming to Upper, at least, you know, like Upper Sokumaru, there are 3-bedroom flat there are 10,000.
A month?
Yes, good one.
120, no.
120, of which in Sapler Road you are paying almost 350,000, 400,000.
350 and above.
But one can, sorry to cut you.
No, please let Reverend finish.
But one can still look at how your children will grow up in a particular environment too.
That's the concern.
So on the long run, we discover that if you take your children to Upper Sagbonba,
one of those who are living there.
But we already know their background too.
Okay, let me tell you something.
So
there's some good products. Yes. Some good students from Upper Sagbonba.
Yes, but on the
let's not reference Upper too much. I'm not happy with us.
See, sir, by the grace of God, yes. By the grace of God, as I am spending my 30th year in Upper.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yes.
And there are people doing well there.
No, 100%. 100%. If you ask me now, do I have some properties in Sapele Road?
Yes.
But as I'm telling you, I enjoy Upper. When people are talking about Upper, I try to say, how? That was where God raised me.
Yes.
And by the grace of God, when you come to our church, you will know that at least, so you mean that this kind of place is in Upper?
Yes.
At least some of your staff have been there.
Yes.
So it's not something that we should come to this place and begin to talk.
Exactly.
Then if you talk in terms of our school, when you get to that place, I have a school.
Okay.
So when you say, where was the money raised? I make up my mind that I should take God as my source. And he's actually doing it. So your Upper is a good place, sir.
So
my
children, they need to relocate. Some persons need to relocate from
affordable
accommodation in Upper.
Yes, from where they can afford. That is one. Second aspect is that instead of living in a big apartment that you know that there are rooms that are not occupied, what are you doing with them?
You can scale down.
So you have to make sure you scale down. Look for another apartment. You can also be that it can be self-contained. Room and parlor self-contained. Then you be there. Then tell yourself that as far as you are there now, there is need for you to save some money. Then trust God that at least you should be able to do that for some time and enter into your personal house. Because it is not the best to keep paying high rentage, feeling that, I want to be big man. It is far, far better for you to be in 2 rooms or 1 room that belongs to you than to be in a duplex that belongs to another person. What are you doing with it? So you don't need it.
Thank you, Reverend. We'll come back to you because what you have said now, I think our viewer there must have gained a lot because some persons take pride. They have a Venza parked in front of a rented apartment and they are comfortable that as long as they can afford their rentage, they should enjoy. Some have more than one Venza, Venza and GLK. And they are tenants, So I think they need to listen to Reverend, So, Prof, now, what's the solution?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we must move out of this quagmire.
Thank you very much. I want to now give my own perspective.
Yes.
My colleagues have focused so much on what we should do as citizens.
Yes.
A form of introspection.
Yes.
To evaluate our lifestyle and our spending habits. No doubt we must do that.
Yes.
But I want to assure you that Nigerians have been doing that the last 30 years. I talked about the austerity measures. People had to adjust. Who queued up for a loaf of bread and all that in this country for kerosene? We adjusted. SAP, we adjusted. And now we adjusted for 8 years under the last discussion. So while we tell ourselves to adjust, we should not shift the focus. The focus is on the government. What should government do to engender a level playground? What can government do to prevent us from adjusting that I have to go to some funny areas to stay because I want to save money. I have to scale down, go to a self-contained as you are suggesting, when I'm not a bachelor. That is the standard of a bachelor.
So self-contained is for a bachelor, Prof. Okay.
That is how I understand.
Okay, that's what Prof said.
No, that's not okay.
If I may ask, a married man that is earning 50,000
naira. That's the difference.
Okay, please let me say to Prof.
Your point in that.
Yes,
I agree with you. I don't want to bring a different angle. That's why I bring different angles. So that is given. We must really adjust.
Yes.
I have adjusted myself. But what I'm saying is that you don't keep pushing people to adjust all the time without you adjusting yourself. Look at the government. Talk about economic challenges, crisis. We're having a ministerial list of 48. But student program for 36 maximum with the LCD. That is 37. So why extra 11? What is the justification? Look at the portfolio assigned. Nothing special, no new job description. No new job beyond duplicating offices. How about the perks of office? The National Assembly is asking for billions to renovate, even as we speak. They are going to buy new cars to speak. What have they reduced the economic fortunes of politicians? Their own allowances, what have they done to that respect? Our governors are spending their security votes without any form of accountability. Now you mopped up money you claimed from the subsidy. We allegedly saved, maybe I don't know how many billions they say we saved.
Trillions. That's what he said in the last
broadcast. What have you done with it? Why the delay to announce a new minimum wage for the workers? What is the delay in rolling out the CNG cars that you promised? We are already in August. We are approaching September. That's why I referenced 3 months. 3 months extra would have been 6 months into this government, which is already out of the 4 years. It's a 4-year term. And so for 6 months, we are still dilly-dally, then there's a problem. So what have you done with the money? So where are the CNG cars? What are the proposals to fix our refineries? Because you talk about the subsidy removal and all those terrorism to electrics. It boils down to the fact that we have to produce our own PMS, diesel, and kerosene. We have to do that through our refineries. As we speak now, what is the budget? What are the plans? One should expect as we speak now that the refinery in Port Harcourt is under reconstruction or overhauling. One should expect the one in Kaduna, we should be seeing pictorials of repairs going on there. What was the promise or the lies told us by the Dangote refinery? It was commissioned in May, just before the president left. We are in August. Today is August 17th. When is Dangote refinery going to start producing? I understand they've been giving access to import, so they now join importing Badango. So these are the things we want to be seen. Then you talked about committee set up, the governors should do what they do. What are the governors doing? Beyond asking people to come to work 5 times, which is also another danger because you are reducing our productivity. When you tell workers to stay at home and work only 3 days as your own antidote to the subsidy or the economic challenges, you are just deceiving yourself because you reduce productivity, and yet you want to raise money to cushion our effect.
Okay, if I may interject, if I may interject, so you can expatiate on that. Yeah, because just recently now, it was Kwara State that started this issue of reduction of work days.
Okay, yes.
The Edo Government followed suit, and some other organizations have also done that.
Universities are doing that.
Now, don't you people can work remotely, and they can also be productive that way?
Yes, I agree with you.
During the COVID,
yes.
Some persons who started that before the COVID enjoyed it because already they were used to it. You can even as journalists,
yes.
You can produce a bulletin with your laptop from your bedroom.
Yes.
So everybody don't need to converge in one office. So I don't think it affects productivity just like that. Maybe except you want to expand.
No, don't need to move dwell that. The point I'm making is that you don't need a subsidy crisis for you to know whether people can work from home.
Okay.
People work from home definitely. You have to look at your job description.
Okay.
Yeah. The COVID made us absorb what we call the so-called new normal. So it's given, but you don't need to now use the subsidy as an excuse to stay at home. There are those whose presence must be felt in the office.
Okay.
They cannot work from home. It's not your job description. I practice, you know that very well.
Yeah.
I've had to engage a bailiff to start a process on a Monday, and then I'm told that he couldn't start on a Monday. I said, okay, let's do it tomorrow. He said, no, we'll be at talk, we'll do it on a Wednesday. I have a client who's breathing down my neck that the process will be served. That's why we can do that from home. So when we talk about the so-called 3-day stuff, we've already evaluated all the variables. It's not true that it's an excuse you can work from home. Certain layers of authority, I don't go to work every day. I won't have to go to work as a professor. I just delegate and I supervise. So that one is settled. So, but it's not an excuse for you to now say, instead of addressing the issue, the cause of the problem, you're addressing symptoms. Asking people to stay at home for 2 days is addressing the symptom.
Okay.
That is true. You must look at what is causing the hardship. I can choose to come to work. I don't want to work. It's my right to come to work too. Then I can come to work and just gist my friends and go. People who went there on leave still come to work. So it's not by telling me not to call that you're helping me. No, pay me very well. Reduce the cost of transportation. Provide the mass transit. Fix our refineries so we can produce this again. And you, as government, reduce your wages. It's a burden because without going to specifics, We know that a lawmaker at the federal level, what he earns can start up a business that will employ about 50 people. If we're going to pay them 100K every month, do the mathematics. So what they take home is horrible. And so these are issues that should be addressed, not pushing the burden to us all the time. That is the point I'm making. Okay. And therefore, the economists who may know better, I think first I've said that there's no reason why we should have total removal of subsidy. We can have partial removal. Thank God they're addressing it, because now that the fuel is 610, don't tell me that it's market force that will make PF to become 800 or 1,000. It should not go beyond this system, at least for the next 6 months. If you have to intervene, those 400 billion or 1 trillion are saving that you want to share for people, I don't know how you want to share them. The saving is, let us do the saving ourselves by now pulling part of that money to subsidize, then block the leakages, stop the theft of our crude in our territorial waters. Find out those who are ferrying our subsidized PMS at maybe 20% subsidy or 30%. Let them work it out, the economists. But block our borders as we have blocked it. Those who manipulate vouchers, papers, from the NFPC and the rest to claim what they didn't import, block it. Don't try to strangulate us. I cannot pretend that there are other options, but the most viable option is that the government must take the bulk. Because we have been making sacrifices, like I said. Growing up, I started about austerity when I was just in class 1 to SAP. It's an endless journey.
Thank you very much, Prof.
So
Prof just made one statement that is very, very punchy. Okay. And he said, government, do not strangulate us. That's the protest I told you about. In some states. They appealed to President Tinubu and said, President Tinubu, allow us to breathe. Now, but President Tinubu is actually doing a lot to actually reposition Nigeria's economy. And we must understand that. We must also appreciate what government is doing. That, yes, he has said that we have to sacrifice. He talked about a pregnant woman who passed through labor pains. But after the labor pains, the birth of a child brings undescribable joy to the mother. And he has actually described Nigeria's situation that way. And I know, Mr. Worogbe, you have a lot to say about it, but just that we don't have all the time. Okay. But let's quickly, just your concluding remarks, Now, do you think, like Prof has said, our political leaders, should they sacrifice 3 months of their salary and, give back to the economy? What should they do? A quick one.
To substantiate or to add to what Prof has said, yes. I strongly support the fact that he has mentioned on the issue of the 48 ministers, and by constitution, I think we are supposed to have 37, 36 states plus FCT inclusive. Until we cut down the cost of governance, we will go nowhere in this country. That is the first step to go. Irrespective of the fact that this policy is counterproductive, this one is having a negative impact on the citizen, the first thing to be done is for government to cut down their costs. They should cut down their costs. The money that they collect is too much. It's too much. I can imagine, I read in one of the newspapers that the official staff of the Senate President is more than 200. Staffs alone.
Okay, aides.
Aides, okay.
Attached to his office. 200. What are they doing there? Even if they are even collecting or they're receiving 50,000, calculate it. So these are the issues in this country. We just employ, give people positions, and before you know it, irrespective of this issue of the money they collected from this subsidy now, before you know it, one snake or one mosquito will swallow it up.
Thank you very much, Mr. Reverend Benson, your concluding remarks.
Okay, sir. So my concluding remarks is like this. The sacrifice have to be from both ends.
Okay.
From the government and from Nigerians. The reason I'm saying so is there are some aspects that the government that can actually do for our citizens.
Okay.
And there are some aspects that we as the citizen can also do for this country. I want the government on their own to also create an enabling environment. Like the issue of tax, multiple taxes need to be cut down.
Okay.
So that at least those that have also make up their mind to want to start up a business, then they should be able to have that enabling environment. And government should also, instead of sharing money that people cannot invest, please, this one is very, very crucial. Instead of sharing money that people cannot invest, it is far, far better to ask people to be industrious than sponsor them. Sponsor whatever the business that they want to embark on, and tell them don't pay with interest.
So to give incentives to small-scale businessmen and women.
Yes. Yes. So that as you do that, then the people will be able to. Because the truth is this, I must be sincere with you.
Yeah.
Where it is far, far better, just like as I told my people. I said one of the greatest disasters that can ever happen to any man is to go and take loan on interest to pay house rent. It's deadly. Yes. It is better you take loan with interest and start up a business than for you to take a loan with interest to pay house rent. Because if you have source of income, there is hope for tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Reverend Benson. The way you have spoken, you have localized our discussion so that the locals will really understand the import of our discussion. And I must commend you for that. Thank you, Mr. Anwanfo. You were also able to localize as well, so that the local people will understand. And Prof, you've also made the authorities to understand that they need to also give.
Sit up.
Yeah, they need to also support the people. So I want to thank my guests. And our viewer out there, I hope you've enjoyed this week's edition. Don't forget, Upper is not bad. Upper is good. There are other good areas. So don't rise up any area. If you know you cannot afford a house in GRA, please relocate to Upper. That's what my guests have said. And you pay affordable
Upper is a good place.
Thank you very much. You have a wonderful week ahead. Bye-bye.